start?
Go ahead.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and start. Sorry for the technology blunder. Anywho, so I'm gonna take a little different approach. How many people are new? 1, 2. Kind of issue. Okay. All right. So what I asked was I reached out and I asked for a Medicare Advantage plan that's being sold out of this office. I know you guys do a lot of them. But then I want to put it in real life terms, real dollars, real things that you guys can identify with and talk to the clients about. And I probably got the wrong plan because when I went to their website, there was a boatload. And then when I tried to go to quote, there was a boatload. So I just kind of found as many numbers that matched and picked it. So if it's off a little bit, it's still a UHC, South Carolina, this zip code plan. So really fast, Guaranteed Trust Life, GTL, solid carrier, pay our claims, which is huge. That's something you don't want to be talking to your clients about. E-application platform, so you guys can do it from an iPad, your phone, your computer, your touchscreen computer, however it is. We're gonna make it easy for you guys to take and do business with your clients. Now I hope everybody is aware of this. We've had this for a while, but everybody's aware that we have the PIN, correct? So you could be next to your client and you have a computer like mine that can't really sign. They have a smartphone, you put in their phone number, they look at you and they're like 43952. That's their signature. You could be on the phone because you have family in North Carolina and you're licensed in North Carolina. You're doing it over the phone, you email it to them, 43962. So that is now the easiest way to take a signature if you are not with your client and don't have it. Keep in mind that you'll want to use that on the portal if you're utilizing the one-time pen. So I'm going to talk about the Advantage Plus Elite, which is our hospital indemnity plan. So before I jump to my little statistics, hospital indemnity plan. Always remember, guys, they do not have to have a Medicare Advantage plan to be sold this. They do not have to have a Medicare supplement. They could have anything. But the hospital indemnity plan was created about 19 years ago by Guaranteed Trust Life. Seriously, came out with the first one. And it is designed to cover, like a glove, all the out-of-pocket costs of a Medicare Advantage plan. However, it is not a requirement. So no matter what the client has to come out of pocket with, we never go in and check. They are buying the contract from us. It's all preset because of what they chose with all their amounts, and that's what we pay, regardless. So if they want and can afford more than what they're required for just to get that extra money, go for it. So a couple of things that I want to point out. Average hospital patient stay is 4.7 days. Because we pay after 6 hours, we're just going to round that up to 5 days, which works out really well because the plan I chose for your area is a 5-day out-of-pocket. Okay, I might be on the right track. This is also the average savings by age. And this is a median because if they did, I read the whole thing, but if they did like the average, then guys up here or gals up here could set it off because they have so much here and people. So they did the median. But you can see between 65 and above 74, it's anywhere from $13,000 to $10,000. So a lot of the people you guys may be working with could be on a fixed income, right? They may not have a lot of stuff to come out of pocket for, and if there was a huge dip, say $1,900, that could really affect them. So what we want to do is we want to protect them. So this is the one I picked. Was it the right one? Ah! Damn, I'm good. Okay, so if we just take a quick glance, days 1 through 5 is $395, right? You all know this. They want to take a little ride to the hospital in an ambulance. It's going to be $250 out of pocket, just right there off the top. Chiropractic service, I couldn't find anything for PT. Their skilled facilities is 203 days. Urgent care, $30. Emergency room, $115. Oh no, the surgical was the $250. Their ambulance is $275. That's if they want to take a little trip. So these are all the things that you are talking to your client, right, about out of pocket. You could be moving them, you could be saving them money. And some people don't like to talk about the out of pocket. They kind of glance over it and be like, hey, this, if you happen to take an ambulance, it's going to be $275 and we'll move right along. But the key is to have that uncomfortable conversation so you can have this conversation. Because we all know if you have more than one policy in a house, it's going to stick a little bit longer, right? And you're small amount a month, we can protect you so you don't have that big $1,900 out of pocket that's gonna hit your savings. Fair enough? Okay, so I did the quote, fill in the gaps. If you are not familiar with this on our website, please be familiar with it. It takes a lot of the thought process out of it for you. So you put in the year, you put in the zip code, you pick the company, and then you pick the plan. And it comes up and it shows you, really tough to see. I promise you, it shows you that the inpatient hospital is days 1 through 5, and it's $395, but we move by $10 increments. So on this side, it actually says $400 for 5 days, okay? So you look through it all, it mirrors everything that we have that could help them, and then you apply for applicant. It'll take you to the place where you put their date of birth, their sex, their state, their name, all that stuff, and then you move on, and it gives you this. Why is that dark? Why is that dark? Okay. Whew, this is gonna be fun. You're never gonna ask me back again. So, that is, total premium is $107 a month. That's expensive. But keep in mind, it puts something in everywhere. And so now you get to go through and talk to your client and make them really own this policy by saying, I don't want that, I want this. Or you could just look at it and be like, hey, this is $24 a month. Is this something that you're concerned about? Because we could pull that back. But always, 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 always keep the base day with the 5 days. And always, 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 please put the ambulance, because you can't see it here, I can't either, but I'm gonna bet it's about, $395 a month. So very minimal for that $275 that they're coming out of pocket for. Okay. I don't know why it's blue. So, let's talk about the base benefits of the product. 6 hours. So they go in, they sign in, they check in, they're there for 6 hours. Day 1 benefits kick in. Day 1 benefit of the 5 benefits. This is not the right presentation.
It's Scott's fault, it's wrong.
No, it's not. Oh, you got me kidding. All right, we're gonna go with it. We're just gonna do it. So, the daily benefit for this one would be $400 because we move by $10 increments. If they want, only if they want and can afford, it actually goes up to $990. So, base plans 3 up to 15 days. Keep in mind, observation is always covered at 100%. I didn't see that there is an observation charge, and I don't know if they charge observation for the plan that we chose, but I guarantee you a hospital is gonna send a bill because they're taking up time, they're taking up space. So we are going to pay day 1 benefits even if they were being observed for 6 hours or more. They're still gonna get paid, so they're not gonna get that charge. And everything fully restores after 60 days of no hospital confinement. So this is a screen about the emergency, I have this memorized, I really do. It's the emergency room benefit and the urgent care. So it is for an injury, they go to the emergency room or urgent care. I believe in your plan it was like 120/30 maybe is what they come out of pocket for. If they go to the urgent care, they get $150. If they go to the emergency room, they get $150. Keep in mind, it does not matter. We are not doing a reimbursement. This is the base plan and this is what they get. So if they go to the emergency room and then they end up being in the hospital, they're gonna get the $150 plus day 1 benefits as long as they're there for over 6 hours. And there is a mental health benefit, go.
It has to be because of an injury, just not an illness.
Injury or an accident.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody asks me that, but yes, that has not changed, that's exactly what it's for. Then the mental health benefit, it's $175. It doesn't fully cover what this plan charges out of pocket, but we do go 7 days, I believe the plan went 5 days. Anyway, there's still a benefit that they will be getting if they go into a mental institution up to 5 days. I have no idea what this one is. No, this is our application. So, our application, we do have guaranteed issue, and and guaranteed issue is 64 and a half to age 70. So if they are between 64 and a half, have not turned 70, they can have a guaranteed issue. Now, I strongly urge you guys, if your people are healthy, I know we have competitors that go up a lot higher with guaranteed issue rates, and I know that's a lot easier. But with the benefits that our product has, the issue ages our product has, and everything else, if they can qualify for it, it's a better product to at least talk to your clients about before just going in and being like, oh, GI, this is the easiest thing in the world. 90-day look back on previous hospitalizations, and there's 4 other health questions. 3 of them have a 12-year look back, and 1 of them is just have you ever had AIDS, HIV, or ARC. That's the application. I don't even know why I'm scrolling it. So, issue ages. Ooh, this is a good one. Issue ages are 40 to 85, I believe. I think that's my low one, 40. Guaranteed issue 64 and a half to age 70. All the riders can be added except for the cancer rider. So if they're interested in the cancer rider on that, they actually have to qualify, and it is a 5-year look back. So that is not included with the guaranteed issue. We move by $10 increments. We pay benefits directly to the policyholder. And I do have some agents that like the client to take their card to the hospital. So you know your clients, you know how sophisticated they are. Like if it was my dad, I'd be like, take your card. If it was my mom, I'd be like, get the bill. Because if they take the card to the hospital, the card, they are going to then send us the bill, and we're gonna say, we need this UBO4, and they're gonna send it to us, and then we're gonna pay them out. Now, we're only gonna pay them for what their bill says. If there's anything left over, that will go to the client.
Oh, for the aspirin.
See, I'm on this. So yes, so let's say they do, instead of doing $400 out of pocket, they wanna do 5, or they do the lump sum rider, and so they're gonna have a oomph on the day 1 payout, whatever. We get that UBO4, we're gonna go ching, 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 okay, this is what we owe, and then we're gonna look and be like, oh, but they did this benefit, and we send it to the client.
Okay.
So, the other thing to make sure is that if they are doing that, then they need to do it at every spot. Because one agent was telling me that he did that, and then the emergency room didn't send their bill, and then the ambulance is a different company. So we need to make sure that if they're doing it, and they don't have to do it that way, they just need to know that there's gonna be some stuff on their end. So UBO4 is a pain in the neck to get from what I'm told. So give the hospital that. But then all they have to do is get the thing from the emergency room, receipt, whatever, get the bill or whatever from the ambulance, and they can do those forms on their own. So they can do it a lot of different ways, but there are choices. Yes.
I don't know if you already answered it or not. I had an issue, not with your carrier, with another carrier, and we went to file a claim, and the issue was, well, it was in the first, I think you said year, and they went back and looked and said, okay, well, being it was in the first year, I guess there's sort of like a grace period or something like that. Can you kind of go into that?
Sure. So almost every policy has what they call 24-month contestability
There
period.
you go, yeah.
And so if you are making a claim even with us, and it's in the first 2 years, we're gonna do our due diligence and make sure that policy should have been issued.
That's what happened, yeah.
That's exactly
Now,
what's
they
gonna
ended up
happen,
giving them all those premiums back.
because it shouldn't have been issued.
Right, but, you know, based on, you know, I ask the questions, he tells me yes or no,
Yeah,
and then I guess within those 2 years, you guys are going back and looking at.
every carrier's gonna go back.
Okay.
That's the time that we have to contest it if they were not forthright.
Okay,
Because if he would have answered it, if he would have answered it differently, then that carrier probably never would have issued policy.
gotcha.
So,
But under the guaranteed issue from.
so under the guaranteed issue, there is no 24 pre-X. There is a 6 months that I'm gonna talk about, or excuse me, there is no 24 contestability. There is a 6 months pre-X with us. But talking very in general, every carrier has a 24-month contestability period.
Okay.
So if the client was angry, I'm sorry, but it sounds like he didn't understand it question or just didn't answer it correctly.
Okay.
Because if they return the premiums, they're gonna say, we're not keeping your money, but we never would have issued it. I probably did it with it.
Okay.
But yes, so when you hear me talk about like not replacing, even, when people go in and replace, you have to always remember, as soon as you get a new policy and stuff like that, you're re-upping your client for a 24-month contestability period. So that's something to always think in too. Every carrier has it. That is not unique to that carrier. That's the only way we have to protect ourselves. So if someone, let's say I lie, but I get the policy and I can hold out for 2 years, they can't do anything about it
Right.
after the 2 years. Same thing for life insurance, it's the same.
Gotcha.
So I talked about how this plan restores. That is gonna look horrible for you guys. But the way it works is this. We have a 5-year benefit period, or 5-day benefit period. With restoration, and why this is so amazing is that if they go in for, let's say, 3 days, then they leave, they're great, they don't go back in, on the 61st day, they have another 5 days. And that keeps going and going and going, like the Energizer Bunny, right? So let's say they do have to go in before the 60 days are up. They still have 2 more days left on that 5-day. So then they're gonna get paid their 2 days, if they happen to have the Medicare Advantage plan we're talking about, then that's gonna pick up from that point too, because we mirror those plans. So they will be covered. Then when they leave the second time, 60 days later on that 61st day, they'll have another 5 days. As long as they keep on paying their premiums and they keep going. So this is what you asked about. Guaranteed issue, pre-X. We have a 6-month pre-existing condition. What that means is that if the client gets the policy through a guaranteed issue, or gets the policy on their own 2 feet, they go through the underwriting and they qualify. If they have been advised, recommended, anything to get treatment for 6 months, in that 6-month period immediately preceding the effective date, that particular thing will not be covered. Just that thing, that issue won't be covered for the first 6 months of the policy. Come 7th month, they'll be covered. So you guaranteed issue. I have cancer. We don't, it doesn't matter, I'm guaranteed issue, right? So I get the policy. But if I need to be hospitalized in the first 6 months because of my cancer, it's not going to be covered. But if I go home, or if I'm at home, and we have it's not really a freak snowstorm because we still get them in March and April, but I have a snowstorm and I slip on the ice, that has nothing to do with cancer. And let's not get into the minutia of cancer, makes your bones brittle and all that other stuff. That has nothing to do with cancer. So I slip, I fall, I need to be in there for 2 days, right? That has nothing to do with pre-X. And then in the 7th month, if I am hospitalized because of the cancer, that's all free and clear. Let's see, oh, I do have writers. Okay, so that's the base policy. Does anybody have questions about base policy, guaranteed issue, pre-existing, how you package it with the Medicare Advantage plan that you're selling them? No? Okay. Pretty simple, pretty easy. The ambulance service rider, please always add this because it is so inexpensive. It's less than $5 a month. And in our example, it's $275. It's payable 4 times a year, 12 times lifetime. But if they have to go to the hospital, $275, boom, straight out of that $10,000 fixed income savings that they have for themselves. Or they can pay $397 a month, and then if they have a trip, it's paid out. Air ambulance is included. So this is new. I think I talked about it because South Carolina approved it right away, the last time I was here. But this is what we call the guaranteed purchase option benefit rider. Long name. But what it will do is it can issue up to age 79. So, and we won't sell it over 79 years of age. However, it allows the client to increase their daily benefit by 10% with no additional underwriting. They don't have to go back through it. So if you sell someone a GI and they're 69, and then 2 or 3 years later, they change their plans, and the premium goes up, and they wanna increase the premium, they can do it without any underwriting, by 10%. And they can do that 5 times up until age 85, because 85 is the highest issue age that we have. So it does include the wellness benefit rider, and if I looked on the plan, it does not cost the client anything to go to their primary care physician once a year, right? Just to make sure they're doing all good and everything's oiled right and moving right, everybody's good to go. So if they go do that for no cost out of their pocket, we pay $100 to the client, which will help offset the cost of the rider. So if you look at this, it says, here's just a sample quote, this is a 6-day benefit, I didn't change it for the 5, with $300 per day. So at age 75, it costs $8.01 a month for this GPO rider, or $96 annually. That allows them to essentially increase up to 50% over 5 years. And they will receive, they go to the doctor, they're gonna receive $4 in excess over the cost of the rider. So they actually come out on top, $5 a year. You can see they get 15 bucks if they're 65. And that's just for a 6-day benefit period with $300 a day. But it is something that if they are interested in increasing it, they can do that. Keep in mind the rider only issues up to age 79, and they have until 85 to increase it by 10%. So it's 50%, no underwriting over the life policy.
Question.
Yes, I got an answer.
Alright, so as Medicare Advantage has changed their deals for like hospitalization, and they have to have that set increase, okay? What is GTL's process for us writing or increasing that benefit? Can it be done electronically, or does it have to be done by paper app, or how does that get executed?
It can be done, so for that, it would be a form that they would fill out to increase it, because we're gonna need their signature. I haven't seen it go in play, but I think it's paper. Go ahead.
It's on, when you go to do the application, it
That's
asks you.
an increase in benefits.
Oh, okay.
That's not the same. I haven't seen it in action. I would assume that it's a form, but I will double check and get back to John with you guys on that. Yeah. So we do have, what he's talking about, we have an increased benefit toggle when you go to do a quote, and you put in the previous policy number, and then you increase whatever it is that you wanna increase on it. And I don't know if that's gonna work in conjunction with the GPO. Like, you go to the GPO and you drop down and you just put 10%. I am not sure, because it is brand new and I have not seen the process, but I will find out.
It would be a competitive advantage to make it electronic.
Oh, I agree, and not a form. But would you still do it if it had to be a form?
It would be a competitive
I
advantage.
managed if I was like 5'9" when I was in high school and played basketball.
Hey, all the ones they
But I still played.
Does that, when you add benefits, does that reset the contestability?
For that particular amount,
Okay.
yes. Yeah. And it also resets to 6 months.
Yep.
Good question. Okay, you can't see this either. It does have a skilled nursing rider. You guys pick on that, fill in the gaps. It shows you what it is for which day period. It does not have to match it. If they want their money up front and they're gonna go in and they are getting covered 21 through 20, or they have to pay out 21, 20. You can work with the client. Obviously, we don't want them to spend the money, so they don't have money in days 21 through 100. And this also will then reset after 60 days of not being in a nursing facility. Now, I say that, and a lot of times I'll get some eye rolls, like once you're in a skilled facility, you're in a skilled facility. Let's not think about it like that. Let's think about, and that's true, but let's also think about people that don't have family. Let's think about people who went in the hospital and they can't stay in the hospital, but they have to go into a facility facility because they don't have anybody at home to help them, right? It's like, you need to go in here. They're gonna leave, hopefully, and then they're gonna be able to take care of themselves at home. And then 60 days after they've left, that resets. But yes, if they go in for that end of life, I'm in a skilled facility, I have all these things, it won't reset. You are right. It also has occupational therapy benefit rider, guys, this is PT, OT, and speech therapy, we pay $50. I did not see what it was on your plan, I did see chiropractic was 30, I believe.
I think it falls under specialist, does it, Scott?
Yeah, no, I think it was 35 in that plan.
35?
Okay, so, like I said, we don't ask for receipts, this is not a reimbursement. If they add this rider for speech, occupational, or physical therapy, they get $50 a day. If they have chiropractic, they get $50 a day. Now here's where the specifics come in. They choose between a 15 or a 30-day benefit period with OT, PT, and speech therapy. It's $50 a day, so they don't wanna do it on the same day. They wanna do it on different days. And for the chiropractic, it's 5 days a year for $50. So, little different, but it will cover the out-of-pocket plus some for the plan we were looking at. Outpatient surgery rider. This one, they have to be cut. They have to be, there has to be an incision, it has to be surgical. So it is not for CT scans, MRIs, or anything like that. There's a lump sum hospital benefit rider. This is if they just want an oomph on day one, you know? So you can play with that. You can be like, okay, they want $500 on day one. It does restore along with the base benefit every 60 days. And then there's the, what is that circle? Then there's the critical accident rider. I'm gonna figure this out. It's very specific, you can see, and it's either a $5,000 plan or a $10,000 plan, but this is a rider that they can choose to purchase. Now, all these riders can be added with the guaranteed issue. The last rider in the policy is a cancer rider. This they have to qualify for, and it is a 5-year look back. Now, we do go up to $20,000, and we do issue it up to age 85. So that is a competitive advantage, but they can choose between 25, 5, 75, 10, 15, or 20. It includes cancer in situ, and all that is that the cancer is not metastasized from the original spot. It's still contained. So once it's moved, it becomes invasive, and that's where the big lump sum comes out. But if they have cancer in situ, they're gonna get 25% of the lump sum. And if they get skin cancer, they're gonna get payouts of $500 3 times over the life of the policy. One does not take away from the other one, keep that in mind. Hopefully, if they are a cancer-prone person, they get the skin first, then the in situ, then the big invasive. But I would rather have cancer in situ all day long before I have the invasive. And if they're interested in the cancer rider, please, please, please quote them on the reoccurrence benefit rider. You can see down at the very bottom, it's less than $5 a month for a 75-year-old. But essentially what this does is they say, if you have a concern of cancer, you're willing to pay cancer rider, which is an expensive rider. However, if the cancer comes back after you go into remission, or if you get a new cancer, it doesn't matter. This will up your lump sum fully to 100% in year 5. If it comes back within 12 months, it's 10%. Year 2 to 3, it's 25% of lump sum, and in year 4, it's 50% of lump sum. It does not have to be the same cancer. So I have an example where one of my good friend's fathers, he had cancer, lung cancer is actually what it was, and he went through everything and rang the bell. And 18 months later, he had a seizure. They took him in. They started doing all these tests. They did a full body scan, and he had cancer riddled throughout his body. So it came back with a vengeance. I don't know if it was the same cancer. I don't know anything. All I know is he rang the bell. They said, you are in remission. You are good. And then he got cancer again. So if someone does have a concern, this is an inexpensive to put on to the more expensive rider, 75-year-old, less than $5 a month.
Amy, do
Yes.
you get the T-Gen with that, like they would with the actual cancer policy?
No, they
Okay.
couldn't afford that. rider then.
Right.
Unfortunately, we've looked at it, it's just not, we've never sold a rider. So, but don't worry because can't give it all away. I'm getting good at this scrolling thing. Okay, guys, this is just a simple thing. So at the beginning of this, I said the average stay was 5 days, correct? 4.7, but 0.7 pays you out because we're 6 hours, so you might as well make it 5. So 5 days. And if they take a trip in an ambulance and stay the average stay, your clients are gonna come out of pocket $2,250. We always look, we don't know what they have in their savings. A lot of people on fixed income. On those 2 examples I gave you on the median for age across the United States, it was 10,000 and 13,000. So that's gonna take a chunk. I'm not a good mathematician, I can't tell you exact percentage of what that's gonna take it of, but it's gonna take a chunk. And then you can see, I did the premiums, and this is for a 5-day benefit period for $400 a day, because the out-of-pocket we're talking about was $390. We moved by $10 increments, and then it was a $300 ambulance ride, because it was $275, and we moved by $50 increments in that. So to be covered for the ride, for the example I'm showing, the annual premiums anywhere from $354 up to $563 on an annual basis, and that's at the time of purchase. Our premiums are not banded. They don't move as the client, or they don't increase as the client ages. So if this little person bought it at age 65 and they pay $354 a year, when they're 80, they are going to be paying $354 a year. That's important to know. So I show you these amounts, but that's if you would present this and sell this to your client at that age. So sooner is better for everybody. It isn't life insurance, it's never gonna be cheaper than today. It is with hospital indemnity and legal. Hospital indemnity, advantage plus the legal. So, questions on the product, questions on the new rider. I will get back with your question because it would be advantageous if we can do it electronically, I agree. I hope if we increase benefits, it pops down to that or gives you the option to.
The first company who does that wins with me. Just
Does
saying.
everybody else have a GPO?
I'm just saying.
I'm asking, who else has a GPO?
What he's referring, every year he will go back out and adjust that hospital indemnity for
Right.
Yes.
the benefits. And when he does that, they're requiring, it's a real pain.
Because generally, because sales process wise, okay, ASB loads of menu, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, the menu sells multiple products in the house. But if I've got 250 to 400 Medicare Advantage clients on hospital indemnity with various carriers, and I'm having to do paperwork
On every single
on
one
every
of
single
those?
one, because Medicare Advantage may change from year to year. or
Right.
Humana decides to discontinue a plan, and now we're gonna move everybody to migrate,
Mm-hmm.
then that creates a whole nother issue, which if it can be solved electronically with an increase in benefits, makes it advantageous as far as doing the work.
Yeah, I understand that, and yes, we do an increase in benefits just for current policies, but I will find out the GPO.
Right.
So like, if we do it electronically, can I expect 245? From you?
I just told you, the one, the first carrier that makes it where I can do it that way wins.
Alright, but I want everybody in your book of business.
You know,
I'm greedy,
the people in your same building on the other side of the fence may be upset.
I'm not worried about them,
I'm
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
I'm not worried about them, they have their own job to do. I'm mine. Okay, no questions about the advance plus lead, right? Okay, I will find out the answer to that and the exact process. Okay, I say this every time I'm here, this is my favorite product. This is our standalone cancer product. It does so much more than just, hey, I am so sorry you got cancer, here's your money, good luck to you. Okay? It adds a second opinion, which we know, or hope, I know I would, get a second opinion, right? If I ever got diagnosed with cancer. So the second opinion is provided by a company called TGen. It's based out of Scottsdale, Arizona. It's huge. And it does national research. And the other thing that it does is studies that are being conducted all over the United States are feeding them information also. And they're feeding them the results. And they're saying, hey, we have this rare cancer. We had 100 people go through it, and we have one that beat it. Well, that's, in my book, that's the one I want to know about, because I'm going to go ahead and try that too. And then, of course, with the policy, we provide the financial help for the client to pay for all of this. So for the people that don't know, TGen looks at 19,000 genes, where most other cancer people, there are about 400 gene markers. They look at it, they're like, yep, you have this, you have that. They also go back and look at all the information they've received, all the studies, everything that they have, and they go back and they look at it and they're like, okay, with your molecular makeup and your markers for your, because you and I could both have lung cancer, probably not, you don't look like a smoker, but we might, right?
Yeah.
But your treatment may be 100% different than my treatment because of our markers, our molecular makeup of our cancer, of everything. So that's what they do. Now, did this come across? Okay, this didn't really come across great. So underneath there, where you can't see, it talks about cancer. I did my research, I looked at all this stuff. And the thing is that cancer is one of the leading causes of death in the United States now, especially among older people. But here's the kicker. It's not a reoccurrence, and it's not necessarily genetically based. So it's not, my mom had breast cancer, I have that, whatever it is, she didn't, so I don't know the name of it. But then I'm more likely to have breast cancer down the road. It's just flat out, cancer is one of the leading causes, second leading cause of death. It's not anymore, it's not necessarily hereditary. Call it our environment, call it what you want to call it, but it's out there. So if you look at this, it says the following is the share of all diagnoses of cancers by age groups. And this is first diagnosis. 30% of all those people, 65 to 75, 19, 75 to 84, and 8% 85 and older. So you look at, the 40s to 50s, early 60s, it's 24, 11%. But 30% of people get their first diagnosis of cancer 65 to 74. And it does not necessarily have to do with genetics. Now, this is super small, but this is your out-of-pocket for the plan that we pay. You have a maximum out-of-pocket, does not include prescription drugs, of $6,700 a year, okay? You have Part B met prescription drugs, chemotherapy, 20% co-insurance. And then you have your retail standard type of drugs. What's the experiment? What do they give for experimental? For this plan?
I don't think they cover experimental.
Okay, so, okay, we do. So part of this is that if the client wants to pursue an experimental drug, they are gonna come out of pocket. We will give them 25% of the lump sum to look at experimental drug
To
treatment.
answer that question, I learned that last week. So standard Medicare doesn't cover experimental.
Who does?
Standard Medicare does not.
Does not.
That was in our training last week. So then, therefore, what you're doing is bringing great added value because their Medicare Advantage plan is not going to cover experimental.
Not all. And then their chemo, they're gonna pay 20% co-insurance.
Correct.
And I don't know how much chemo costs, but I'm sure it's expensive. So some of the things to think about is when we did their max out of pocket. So it does issue up to $50,000. So their max out of pocket is $6,700. You could look to see and be like, hey, do you want a $10,000? Do you want $8,000? Or can you afford, if we double it, because if cancer comes in, you know, let's say cancer comes in and they have 6 months of treatment, but it comes in the second half of the year. Once they hit 2026, that's reset and they're back out of pocket. But only do stuff like that if you know and they feel comfortable with that premium. If they let it lapse, it does them no good. So if they can't, and they can only cover that 1 year max out of pocket, or they can only do the 10,000, that's better than nothing. The way it works, policy is diagnosed with an invasive cancer. They go to our website, they print out the forms, and they fill out the forms. And included in that, it'll have the payout, the financial, hey GTL, give me some money, but it also has the TGen information. So once we get all that information, we reach out to TGen, we say, hey, our client has an invasive cancer. Here's their information, their contact information, here's their oncologist, so forth and so on. TGen then reaches out to their oncologist and says, hey, you know that tumor you took out? I think it's a tumor. You took a sliver of it, and you did a test on it, and they have cancer. Send us a little sliver, we'll pay for it, send it our way. Then they're gonna look at it, do 19,000 genes that they're gonna test, and they're gonna do all their, you know, research and pull everything and all the data that they know about the molecular makeup of this particular cancer. And then they're gonna go back out and they're gonna reach back out to the client and their oncologist, and they're like, hey, this is what we found out, this is what we know. We know this study is being conducted over in Rhode Island, and they've had a 2% positive whatever. They're gonna tell them this, or they're gonna say, hey, based on this, we really think that you shouldn't just go the radiation route, this route you should go through, or something like that. But it is a true second opinion that the client receives through having this policy. So, $2,500 is the minimum, or a face amount that has a $20 minimum monthly payment. It will go up to $50,000. Gives them the access to TGen, gives them the 25% if they want to pursue an experimental type of treatment. If it is cancer in situ, which it's not invasive, it hasn't metastasized, they'll get 25%. And that is the base benefit. Now there are 2 riders they can put on, and I'll get to those. So issue ages are 18 to 90, so it's also a very high issue age cancer policy. Minimum $2,500 up to $50,000. There is a child rider that can be issued 0 to 18. Just need one little baby at the time of, one dependent, one little, you know, at the time of issue. And then rate classes male, female, there's weight, there's stuff. It's a little bit more on the underwriting. So the child rider, it's up to $10,000. Just need one dependent at the time of issue. Then it covers all the dependents if they continue to procreate or adopt. And then once they're 25, it ends, okay? But they can reapply. It's not guaranteed that they get the new policy, but they can reapply if that's important to them. You can see it's $1.25 monthly premium. Now, there is the cancer benefit builder rider. It increases the lump sum that they chose by 25%. It increases the cancer in situ up to 50%. It adds on a skin care, so now they're gonna get $500 3 times over the life of the policy if they do this rider. And remember we talked about that 0 cost to the client to go to their primary care physician just to make sure they're good, they're okay, they're healthy, well oiled, still moving, no problems, etc., etc., etc. They do that, and we pay them $100 just to go make sure. They don't have to go to an oncologist. They don't have to go get a cancer screen or anything like that. They just need to go to the primary care. So if we look at how that offsets it, it is $90.75, let's say for a woman at 65, which would be $117, but then they go to the doctor. Notice how I use a woman. She goes to the doctor, and then we pay back we pay them $100, and now this rider's only gonna cost them $1.41 a month if they go to the primary care physician. So if we couple this with the Advantage Plus Elite, and they do the guaranteed purchase option, they go to they're also getting that $100, which will offset that rider. Underwriting details, simplified issue. All simplified issue means, guys, is it's yes, no. That's what simplified issue means. There is a 5-year look back for previous cancers. There's a height, weight. What else is there? Male, female. Keep in mind that this is an outline of how we process it. So 2,500 to 15,000, we go by the health questions, and we issue the policy. There's 24-month contestability, so if they make a claim in that time, we took the health questions, we're gonna do our due diligence, just like everybody else. For 15 to 25, we just pull an RX. Keep in mind that if that RX signifies that there's something else that they might not have disclosed or were confused about, we may pull a PHI or medical data. 25 to 50,000, we're gonna do an RX, PHI, and medical data. That's just the outline for it. It's all good. Here are the health questions. Like I said, 5 years, it covers everything. They didn't skip anything at all. So, it hits everything. I'm not gonna go through it all. And I know you can't read it, but I'm sorry. But it is a 5-year look back. So before I close, I do want to talk about something, and what that is replacements for your clients. Now, we already said, be very careful when you're replacing clients for certain things because it's gonna re-up their 24-year contestability, right? If you like this product and you are already thinking about clients that have a concern, have reached out, you've sold them a cancer policy, that cancer policy is excellent, it's going to give them whatever it is, $50,000 should they get cancer. But it's not gonna give them experimental benefit money, and it's not gonna give them access to TGen for their second opinion. You can write them, won't necessarily help with experimental, I guess, but you could write them a precision care, don't replace, and you can write them a precision care for the minimum face amount and they still have full access to TGen. TGen is not going to only do 10,000 genome sequencing and molecular detections because it's not a $50,000 face amount. Okay? Don't replace if TGen is the reason why you're doing it. And if anything, you do replace, keep that other one going as long as you can because there is a 24-year contestability on this one too. I do not preach replacement. But I do preach that especially if what you're looking for is the TGen and all this stuff that this product has to offer, you don't have to go with that big face amount. You could go with the bare minimum and still get that second opinion. And they're still gonna get their 50,000 from whomever you sold it with. Yes?
I have a client that has a cancer policy that we were kind of going back and forth with, and she wanted to keep what she has because it has a return on premium.
Yep.
Does GTL offer that?
On certain, there is a writer, I have to check and see if it's available in your state.
There is to an age.
What?
There is to a certain age.
To a certain age. Keep in mind on this one with our return of premiums, that a lot of return of premiums will be minus any benefits paid out.
Right,
And double check that on yours too.
right.
So if, there is a benefit paid out of $100 for the wellness, that's gonna go against it. If they have skin cancer and they pop the how many times did I say it was? 3 times 500, that's 1,500. That's gonna go against it. But yeah, I do believe we have one, page 83 maybe. I can double check that one and finish. But, those are state specific, and not a lot of them do the ROP. the
Now, I may
state-
have missed it, but on the cancer side, what's the, is it level premium or is it banded in any way?
Thank you for asking. It is level premium.
So if I buy it at 18 and keep it until I'm 70,
Yeah.
I'm not paying that.
Yes, it is level premium. We only have one product in the GTL portfolio that is a banded premium. Not allowed to talk about it. It's called the short-term home health care product. And it is identical to our sister family that is in across the hallway. That one is banded. But all of our other products, the cancer, heart attack, and stroke, our TGen, our Advantage Plus Elite, all of our other products are, once you buy it, the premium is the same and does not. Thank you for asking. Any questions at all?
Yeah, it kind of sounds like a stupid question.
No, option rider. So if you have someone that you did not sell the GPO rider to, cause it was only been around for like 6 months, maybe? And that client wants to keep the policy they have, and they just wanna increase the benefit on that same policy, then you would, if they wanna increase the daily amount, you would hit increase benefit, put in the policy number, go down, put the amount that they're increasing. If you happen not to give them the ambulance rider and they wanna add that, you would do all of that. They will go through underwriting if they are not in the GI issue agents. The guaranteed purchase rider is completely different. They buy that and they'll never go through underwriting if they wanna increase their daily amount by 10%. Up to 5 times, so they can increase it. So that increase in benefit was our way of making it easier electronically to increase the amount, but they will go through underwriting if they're outside of the GI. And then a second policy, will be whatever. The guaranteed purchase option, it doesn't matter if you sell it to them when they're, 55, they have up until age 85 to increase 5 times by 10%. And it doesn't matter if they're 63, and then you do it at 79.
Are they increasing the
Their
hospital
daily
stay?
benefit,
Of the
their
hospital
daily,
stay?
their hospital costs,
Does that have anything to do with adding ambulance or anything?
no, not the GPO. She asked if it had anything to do with adding the other riders, no. So even if you did the GPO, and you wanted to go back and add a rider, cause let's say they did something and they're like, I thought it was covered for this, and you're like, no, but, you're still healthy or whatever, we can go ahead and add this rider, it's gonna increase, whatever, but you'll have to go if you're outside. Does not, the GPO rider does not do anything for the other riders. It only will increase the daily benefit amount that the client chose originally by 10%, and they can do that 5 times before they're 85.
That makes more sense.
Thank you. I will update my screen to make it more clear. Any other questions? Any confusion that I created?
It's probably just my confusion.
No, it's not you. Those were great questions. Well, I appreciate you guys. I always appreciate the time. I'm excited. I mean, I've been out here like less than 6 months ago. It was like in October.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you.